Hey, today I'm going to talk about the Samurai Trilogy. I'm not going to say the names of the actual films because they're very Japanese, but if you Google the Samurai Trilogy, you'll get these movies. So like, it's synonymous, it works. So yes. First up is Samurai 1. This is a 1954 film, and the basic premise is this is based off of a book which is inspired by real life about this man who started off as just like a nobody, an outlaw, and then eventually makes his way to becoming a samurai. Spoilers, but it's the name of the movie, so it's fine. And it's pretty good. Of the three, I definitely liked the least because it took me a while to get sucked into it. Like when they were doing the war stuff, it was fine. When they were doing kind of like the right away post-war stuff, I'm like, oh, it's alright. But once it kind of got into like the really meat of it, the cat and mouse stuff, I'm like, oh my god, no, this is working for me. Especially because like it's such good action and it's just an interesting kind of chase dynamic thing that's happening. Because like the main character, he is a squirmy like, part of what I love about him is the fact that like he'll be in front of insurmountable odds and he'll have like his katana or some sort of weapon, and like, you know, in a Star Wars or something he would single-handedly defeat all of them. But in here, in this more realistic situation, he's just like, all right, I'm out of here, and then he just runs away. And he does that so much throughout this series, but it makes sense because like tactical retreats, especially when facing overwhelming odds, make perfect sense. So like, yeah, no, dude's smart. That's just something you don't see in movies. A character willing to look like a coward in order to win. This one I don't think is as strong as the other two, but I do think it's necessary to watch this to get to the other ones, to completely understand all of the context. Theoretically watch the other ones without it, but I feel like you're missing something if you don't have all of the setup that happens in this movie. So yes, it's a good film and worth a watch. The other two I like a lot more though. Next up is Samurai 2. This is a 1955 film featuring a duel, and I was really blown away by how much I love this film. It's so much fun. Basically, he's spent some time training to become a samurai, but he doesn't feel ready yet to be a protector of someone in particular, so he goes out to be a ronin and just explore Japan and kind of learning more skills. And so much of the conflict of this film is because of pride, of toxic masculinity, if I'm being really honest, because the main character goes to this school to challenge their headmaster. I forget the actual term, but first all of the adult students, they're like, no, you gotta go through us first. And he just kicks their ass. Like he dominates them. He kills a couple of them, even just with a wooden stick. And like they, throughout the entire film, just refuse to let their master fight this man because they know that, well, what they say is that they know that this man's not worthy to fight their master. But really it's because they know that their master is gonna lose. Their master's gonna die if they fight this man. So they try every single scheme they possibly can to make it so that the hero of the story doesn't get to fight their master. And it's so well done. The action is incredible. It's so great. There's great set pieces. The sword fighting is so good, but then just like even the running about is really handled masterfully. If I was gonna complain about anything, there is a love triangle aspect that plays throughout the entire series, and I feel like in this one I kind of cared for it the least. I do think it's interesting and does add a layer to the whole thing, but I just was kind of like, can we get to the action? I just like the action. My tune will change on that in the next one, but here I just kind of wasn't as vibing with it as much. It didn't really bring the movie down. It's still my top ranking of I really liked, so I definitely would recommend this one. If you want to skip the first one, I guess you can, but like I do think it adds to it if you watch them in order. So yes, really good film, well worth a watch. And lastly is Samurai 3, another duel. I dislike that they use the word duel in this one because yes, there is a big duel that happens at the end, like that is the climax of the film, and it is a very well done duel. But I feel like there's so much more going on with this one, and like that duel that they're building to isn't as much central focus to this story as it was the last one. Like all of the plot had to do with that in the second one, whereas in this third one, he goes to a lot of different other places. And that is my only complaint about this movie. I loved this this movie. It's so much fun. The action is somehow even better than the other ones. The cinematography is great. Speaking of The Last Duel, like there's some really cool like sunset shot things that they're doing, or sunrise, I forget which way it is. And it's just masterfully done. And I especially love too that like I wasn't sure how it was gonna end, because this is the last of the trilogy. I think it brought the romance back in a way that just like flew for me. It honestly kind of reminded me of the romance from Ivanhoe, and that there's kind of like one connection that's really strong and then the other one that's disconnected and kind of like causing issues because there's like this woman has the wrong idea in her head. Well, sort of wrong idea. And it works really, really well. I loved all the characters. He kind of gets a couple of sidekicks in this one, and it felt so natural the way he got them, and it worked so well. They added a nice fun dynamic to it that worked great. Oh, I forgot to mention this, but in the last one he starts like doing crafts. Like he starts painting, and he also in this one he does lots of like wood carving stuff, and that's all a true thing that the guy did, and like a lot of his artwork still exists to today. But I just love that like he's just like this very incredibly gifted artist as well as this guy who's a badass at duels. It just adds like such an interesting layer to his character. And a lot of personal conflict that he has throughout both the second one and the third one is in regards to like relationships and love. Like, can he love a woman, or is he just in love with a sword? And what does that mean? But like he still cares for these people, so how does he like show that care? How does he have a sort of love life or maybe not love life? Who knows? That was really well done. There's one conflict with like some bandits that was really well done. One of the guys was a character that's popped up other times throughout the films. And it's interesting like seeing him pop up there because it tells us really a lot about his character and just like the shitty things that he's kind of done to get to this point. This is definitely his lowest moral ranking, is him being at this place. And it's also devastating news for another character because he's connected to one of the women in the movie. And with him being alone, that means some bad stuff happened. But yeah, no, I really truly love this film. If you're only gonna watch just one, yeah, do this one because it's the best one. But again, I really think you should watch all three because they really do build upon each other. But yeah, no, it's an amazing film. It's a fantastic trilogy, and they're all well worth a watch. Alrighty, now for today's rankings, I'm going to go in chronological order. So first up is Samurai 1, sitting at number 76 in the quite-like section. And then after that is Samurai 2, sitting at number 36 in the really-like section. And then lastly, my favorite, is Samurai 3, sitting at number 28, again in the really-like section. This is a total of 141 old movies so far this year.